Life happens to everyone, and either by observation or focus you got hold of a thought. That thought was either in harmony with who you are or was not. The quantity of how much in harmony with who you are was indicated by your emotions. The more in harmony with your inner being they were, the more positive you felt. The less harmony with your inner being they were, the more negative you felt. Good is equal to good, bad is equal to unwanted. It's as simple as that. Like you tune to a specific station on the radio, if you focus for a period of time while constantly receiving the indicator that felt bad, the emotional indicator got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you started receiving things that were in harmony that you also judged as negative or unwanted. Frustrating interactions, rude people, stubbing your toe, each getting bigger and bigger. Every indicator was telling you to stop. You will not like the destination when you get there. Until you are where you are now with an unwanted bodily and or life condition. And now you go to your healthcare provider asking them to do the impossible. Give you a different song other than one you're tuned to. Quote, so you ask a tremendous amount from your doctors. You ask your doctors in many cases to do what is not possible. You ask them to work their magic and use their medicine to defy the laws of the universe. And you are also emitting an energy that will not allow the healing that you demand from them. Abraham Hicks. You are the only one that can change what your radio is tuned to. Your thoughts and mind is a broadcasting and receiving mechanism. If you take the time to harmonize with what you want, the effort factor is almost non-existent. If you don't take the time to harmonize with what you want, there isn't enough action in the world to make any real difference. Supplements, drugs, treatments, or surgeries can't change what you are in harmony with. There are no quantity of supplements you can take, no matter their quality, purity, or method of delivery. There are no quantity of treatments, even if you have the most inspired, experienced, successful practitioners in the world performing them. There are no surgeries you can have, even if you have the best surgeons in the history of the planet. While it's true that temporarily those may give you relief, but long term, if you don't deal with the harmony, it's just going to squirt out in another way. So when applying the quantum medical model to healing in real life, we started noticing some requisite factors and found a direct correlation with those that achieve long-term relief and those that don't. And these factors are so critically important that if you aren't dealing with them first, you are wasting your time, money, and life. We call them the 3.5 hurdles to healing because if you don't clear them, you can't heal. And science proves it. The 3.5 foundational harmonic hurdles are 1. A rich life with an intimate relationship and a close network of friends. 2. A life full of personal purpose of being who they really are. 3. A harmonically based supportive philosophy for life. And the point 5 is, if applicable, people have to resolve any past traumas. This is another bold statement, and I ask you not to take our word for it, but let's give an overview of what the science says. There was a man studying heart patients, Dr. James J. Lynch, a psychologist, researcher, and author who uncovered some fascinating statistics about heart patients. We will do a deep dive into his data later, but what he found was a direct correlate between the death rate and relationship status. The least likely to die were those who were married, then less healthy, those who were widowed, then divorced, and the highest death rate were those that were never married. Other diseases follow the identical pattern. The worst thing they discovered was that there was no quantity of exercise you can do or healthy food you can eat that can counteract the positive effects that one intimate, long-term relationship can have. The second healing hurdle is simply feeling that your life has purpose. It doesn't need to be a magnificent obsession. Just being there for your family and helping others is all you need. But you need something. This is the second hurdle to healing. The third hurdle to healing is that of a true supportive philosophy that works in harmony with the laws of the universe. If you don't have a philosophy that works with the laws, you will be like the existing broken medical system, always failing and never understanding why. This entire video series has been teaching this philosophy by and by, but we will do a deep dive into the detailed workings of what science affirms is the best philosophy to embrace to have a healthy, happy life. And there is one more factor to each of these hurdles that was discovered quite by accident. One time there was a group of leading-edge doctors who dedicated their life to helping their patients with weight loss. In their schooling, they were taught that eating less and exercising more was the best way to lose weight. Of course, there was no actual science behind this, and it didn't work. But they were actual good doctors, forward-thinking, loving truth, not dogma, and they knew how to research. Well, eventually they stumbled upon one of the greatest healing modalities, fasting. They had their patients water fast, meaning just drinking water, and they all lost weight, and all their other health problems disappeared as well. But once the fasting stopped, there were a few patients that would inexplicably gain it all back. And it was by accident that two of these patients who gained the weight back told their separate doctors that they were sexually abused as children. Wondering if this could be a link, they started to ask more and more of their patients who would gain all the weight back. And sure enough, those that hadn't dealt with their childhood traumas were the ones who couldn't sustain healing. So if you are trying to heal at all, and you haven't cleared these 3 harmonic hurdles, you are on a fool's errand. We are going to teach you how to clear these 3 hurdles and build a harmonic life, because if you don't, there is no supplement you can take, no vaccine, no surgery, no drug that'll help. There is no quantity of fasting that will help. There is no quantity of raw, fresh, organic foods you can eat. There is no length of meditation you can do. There is no quantity of exercise you can perform. And the worst part is, there is no medical modality, including this one, Western, Eastern, alternative, functional, that can help you. Thousands of scientific studies confirm again and again that if you have any health problem at all, and you don't have a harmonic relationship and a community of friends, a harmonic purpose in your life, and a harmonic philosophy, there isn't anything any medical system or person can do to help you long term. These are not only the prerequisites for a vibrant, healthy body, but for a fulfilling life on this planet. If you aren't working on them, you're wasting your time, money, and life. In fairness, even though Western medicine has studied it and is full aware of these issues, they don't know how to help people. But we do. And out of everything we know harmony best. In the following sections, we will provide a step-by-step approach to optimize each of these 3 areas to help you live your best harmonic life with a great feeling body, thrilling relationships, and satisfying purpose. Now you might understand why these videos are required. So many people come in and say, I don't want to do all this stuff. I just have problem X. My friend came in here with problem X and your protocol X cured them. Why can't I just do protocol X? And now you know that problem X isn't the problem. It's station X that they're tuned to. And we don't want little problem X to get worse and worse, and it spreads and gets bigger and bigger into other aspects of their life. That's basically the huge, giant, gaping flaw in all of medicine. What people are really saying is, I don't like the song on this station that my radio is on. Can you do something and force my hand to change it to another station so I can hear another song that I do like? No. That is the only thing that you and you alone have absolute power over. Free will abounds. With a pill or procedures, practitioners may be able to deafen your ears so you don't hear the song short term, or best case scenario, they can temporarily alleviate that problem. But unless you change the station yourself, the problem will either come back with a vengeance or transmute into another problem that may or may not be curable. You can see why these are called healing hurdles. This is the biggest secret in all medicine. If you have a problem in your body and you don't have a great intimate relationship, a community of friends, a feeling of purpose, or supportive philosophy, All the science and trillions of data points confirm one inescapable and unavoidable fact. Healing is going to have a very difficult, if not impossible, time affecting you. Eating unhealthy foods, lack of sleep and exercise, environmental toxins, and overall stress of life are going to have a very easy, 100% certain time adversely affecting you. But this is a two-way street, and this is the most exciting point of all of these teachings. If you have cleared the healing hurdles and have a delicious soul-affirming relationships, a strong sense of purpose, and a supportive philosophy, guess what? Sickness is going to have a very difficult and, if not impossible, time adversely affecting you. Eating unhealthy foods, lack of sleep and exercise, environmental toxins, and overall stresses of life are going to have a very difficult, if not impossible, time adversely affecting you. This simple truth answers almost every single controversy about health, and you are smart enough to see why. From now on, forevermore, if you see a certain study about the way people eat, exercise, a drug or supplement, or a surgery or a protocol, you're going to be able to ask the right questions. How are the participants' relationships? What about their feeling of life purpose? How close-knit was their community and friends? Because those make all the difference in the world. Some people in harmony with health take a dangerous drug and have no side effects. Others in harmony with illness, sickness, and disease will take a placebo and die from it. I don't fight against unwanted for obvious reasons. I will clearly define the problem, but then spend all of my energy on explaining the solution. I'm not fighting against any healthcare system or philosophy because they all have their place. And their place is only for an inspired solution given to you by the universe after you've cleared the harmonic hurdles for health and then got into alignment with your desire and were inspired to whatever protocol was given to you. When you live a harmonic life, the answers come quickly and easily right on the heels of the problem. Sometimes the solutions are given even before the problem. Other times the solutions are provided so far in advance you never even knew there was a problem. Inspired answers will be so clear you will not doubt. And yes, they may certainly involve the medical system, but instead of just trying random, expensive, invasive things and hoping something will work, you will be guided to the one perfect thing that'll fix it. And then you can go on your way, deliberately living a well-intended, delicious life on purpose. Let's go to the first hurdle, harmonic relationships. The first harmonic hurdle we're going to tackle is the critical importance of having a romantic partner you can confide in and belong to a close-knit group of friends. Let's delve into the science of why these connections are so vital from every stage of life. We've all heard about the tragic Romanian orphanage studies that unfortunately reveal the stark reality. Even when babies receive adequate nutrition, warmth, shelter, and clothing, they still died at alarming rates because they were deprived of human loving connection. Those who survived suffered from lifelong consequences, including lower IQ scores, emotional problems, and social difficulties. Their brains showed less development in crucial emotional and cognitive areas, hindering their ability to form meaningful relationships throughout their lives. These heartbreaking findings underscore a fundamental truth. We need more human interaction to thrive. We need connection. The father of social epidemiology. UC Berkeley professor Leonard Syme, a pioneer in social epidemiology, correlated the impact of social connections on health and longevity. You have heard that it is said that as soon as an immigrant comes to America and adopts the standard American diet, this inevitably leads to poorer health. However, he discovered that the data pointed to the quality of one's closest relationship was the primary determinant of health and disease, regardless of diet or exercise. This wasn't just true for immigrants. He replicated these studies around the world and found the same thing. Having a close relationship was the most important factor. One of Professor Syme's most impactful studies is in Alameda County, where he and his team followed over 9,000 people. They discovered something amazing. Having close friends and an intimate partner was the best predictor, not just of overall health, but how quickly people recovered from illness, how much wealth they accumulated over their lifetime, and even how well their children turned out. These relationships had a ripple effect, influencing every aspect of a person's life. In another pivotal study, Lisa Berkman, then at Yale University, followed nearly 7,000 adults for 9 years. Astonishingly, the results showed that men with fewer social ties were twice as likely to die, and women were 3 times more likely. And this was regardless of whether they smoked, drank alcohol, were obese, or exercised. Women are right to prioritize relationships. Their lives depend on it in a very real way. Social connection trumped all those traditional health factors. The Office of the U.S. Surgeon General recognized the growing epidemic of loneliness and has issued an advisory emphasizing its detrimental effects. They found that lacking these vital connections increases risk of stroke by 32%, the risk of dementia by 50%, and the risk of dying early by 29%. These are terrifying figures. In countries where nationalized healthcare systems like the UK and Canada, the economic burden of loneliness is glaringly obvious. The loneliest 5% of the population has a staggering 1,900% more health problems, and they consume half of the entire country's health expenditures. To put that in perspective, a healthy person may cost the state $500 a year, but a lonely person costs $100,000 a year. This isn't just a personal problem, it's a societal one. It's so significant that these nations have appointed ministers for loneliness to address the issue, not just for humanitarian reasons, but for the sake of their economies. Decades ago, astute cardiologists began noticing a disturbing trend. Unmarried patients, particularly those lacking a confidant, had the lowest survival rates. This observation led to the understanding that loneliness can be more detrimental to health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day or being obese. Dr. Steve Cole, a leading researcher in social genomics, has shown that loneliness actually changes how our immune system cells behave. It ramps up inflammation in the body, which acts like fertilizer for all diseases. It accelerates plaque buildup in the arteries, it helps cancer cells grow and spread, and even promotes inflammation in the brain, which can lead to Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Redford Williams, a renowned cardiologist, spent years researching the link between social connections and heart health. His findings were striking. Unmarried individuals without a confidant had a 300% increase in the risk of death within 5 years compared to those who were married and had a close friend. He realized that it wasn't just about being married, it was about having someone that you can truly confide in, someone who had your back. Communicative fitness, emphasizing that it's just as important as physical fitness. Loneliness and social isolation don't just affect our mental, physical, and emotional health. They have a ripple effect that touches every aspect of our well-being. Take heart health, for example. People who are socially connected have much better cardiovascular health and are far less likely to develop heart disease. In fact, studies show that they have a 50% lower risk compared to those who are isolated. And it's not just about preventing disease. Social connections actually help us live longer. Research shows that people with strong social ties have a 50% lower risk of dying prematurely. But it goes deeper than that. Social connection actually strengthens our immune system, makes us more resilient to illness, helping us recover faster from injuries or surgeries. Social support can even improve how our bodies process sugar, which lowers the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Social connectins are crucial for reducing stress and predictors from mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. Even our brains benefit from social interaction. Studies have shown that people who engage in social activities and maintain strong relationships are less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease and all other forms of dementia. And for those battling cancer, social support can be a lifeline. Cancer patients with strong social networks are shown to have better survival rates, experience less pain and fewer side effects from treatments, and are more likely to stick to treatment plans. Social connection even affects how well we sleep. People with strong social ties tend to sleep better and have fewer sleep disturbances, while loneliness increases the risk of insomnia. Social support can even increase our pain tolerance and help us recover faster from injuries, surgeries, thanks to the release of endorphins, our body's natural painkillers. The concept of blue zones has captivated the world's attention, highlighting regions where people live extraordinarily long lives. While some claims about these zones have been challenged, one blue zone in America stands out: Roseto, Pennsylvania. In the 1960s, medical researchers Stuart Wolfe and John Brune were intrigued by Roseto's unique health profile. Despite a diet rich in saturated fats and high smoking rates, the residents had remarkably low rates of heart disease, half that of neighboring towns with similar backgrounds. Their heart attack rate was almost zero, which also didn't make sense. The secret wasn't just diet or exercise. It was the community's tightly woven social fabric. Multi-generational households, strong social bonds, and frequent interactions fostered a powerful sense of mutual support. However, as these community ties weakened, the heart disease rates rose to match those of neighboring towns. This phenomenon underscores the profound impact of social cohesion on health. Research has shown that each standard deviation increase in perceived neighborhood cohesion, the risk of heart attack and stroke decreases by 22% and 15% respectively. Living in a supportive community boosts the chances of good health by 27%. Furthermore, connected communities foster economic opportunities. People in such communities are 4 times more likely to find meaningful employment than through traditional job centers. Robert Sampson, a leading expert on policy and public safety, emphasizes that, quote, stronger neighborhoods have significantly less crime. It's a harmonic principle. Feeling safe and connected within a community contributes to a safer environment for all. The impact of social isolation on mortality is striking. In a 9-year study, isolated individuals were 200 to 300% more likely to die from all causes, including cancer, heart disease, and respiratory problems. Even our susceptibility to illness is influenced by social connection. In a study where participants were deliberately exposed to the cold virus, those with strong social ties were 300% less likely to catch a cold. Animal studies reinforce this principle. When lab rats were raised in isolation, they developed 8,400% more breast cancer tumors than those that were raised in groups. Mice are not people, but the evidence is clear. A strong, supportive community is vital to our physical and mental well-being. It's not just about living in close proximity. It's about actively engaging, believing in, and contributing to a shared sense of belonging. And let's not forget, pets can be a part of our social life. Dr. Errand was among the first to demonstrate the incredible impacts pets could have on heart health, specifically how they help patients recover from heart attacks. They weren't really expecting something as simple as having a pet could make a real difference in how long people lived, but the data was undeniable. When they followed a large group of heart patients after they'd left the coronary care unit, they found that those who had pets were significantly more likely to be alive a year later than those who didn't. And this wasn't just a fluke. Even after accounting for all other factors that could affect survival, like age, health conditions, and lifestyle habits, the results held true. It seems that pets have this amazing ability to alleviate the sense of isolation and loneliness that often plagues heart patients. And that connection, that companionship, was powerful medicine in and of itself. But the benefits of pet ownership are far beyond heart health. Studies have shown that interacting with pets can lower blood pressure and heart rate. can reduce stress hormones like cortisol and increase levels of oxytocin, the love hormone. Pets can also encourage physical activity and provide a sense of purpose and routine, and often a constant source of comfort and unconditional love. For people struggling with loneliness, pets can be a lifeline. They offer companionship without judgment, providing a sense of security and help others feel less alone. And in a world where social isolation is becoming increasingly prevalent, the role of pets in our lives have never been more important. So if you're feeling lonely, consider welcoming a furry friend into your life. It just might be the best prescription for your health and happiness. Dr. Fauci and his colleagues at the University of California Medical School made a remarkable discovery while studying patients with malignant melanoma. They divided the patients into two groups, both receiving the same medical treatments. However, one group also participated in a 6-week group therapy program. 5 years later, the results were astonishing. 3 times as many individuals had died in the group that didn't have those 6 weeks of group therapy. Just 6 weeks of connecting with others made a significant difference in their survival rates down the line. Dr. David Spiegel's research, published in The Lancet, further reinforces the power of group support. He initially set out to prove that psychosocial support wouldn't be a significant impact in breast cancer survival rates, but the results shocked him. Women with breast cancer who participated in weekly group therapy for a year after surgery lived twice as long as those who didn't have this therapeutic experience. Now here is the key takeaway. It wasn't the therapy itself that was the magic bullet. It was the sense of community, the camaraderie, the friendships, the connections that made the real difference. These women could have joined a knitting group or book club and likely received similar benefits. It's the human connection that matters most. However, there's a caveat. Be mindful of the type of group you join. Groups that focus solely on the problem can actually exacerbate that problem. We'll delve deeper into that one in the Harmonic Hurdle of Philosophy later. In the intro, we said that trauma is a part of every single health hurdle. It's heartbreaking how many people carry the weight of trauma and addiction. We'll explore these challenges later in depth, but first let's shed light on the science behind them. Now, in the traditional medical model, while excellent at patching us up after a physical injury, they can be surprisingly ineffective when it comes to common illnesses. We know that the traditional medical model is downright dangerous when it comes to dealing with chronic diseases. But when it comes to psychological issues like childhood trauma and the accompanying addictions, it's not only expensive but woefully inadequate, and even potentially harmful. Again, we want to emphasize this isn't a criticism of the dedicated individuals working within the system. It's the model itself that needs rethinking. Thankfully, there are many forward-thinking practitioners out there who are achieving remarkable results by approaching trauma in a completely different way. And you might be thinking, well, that's nice of those that can afford a world-famous therapist, but that's not going to happen. Fear not, because here's the good news. Science says that you may not necessarily need a therapist to heal from trauma. As Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce Perry explain in their book, What Happened to You, quote, "What we're learning is that having access to a number of invested, caring people is actually a better predictor of good outcomes following trauma than having access to a therapist. Having a therapeutic web, a network of supportive relationships that surrounds you throughout your day, can be better than a therapist. Cheaper too. Now, a therapist can certainly be a valuable part of this web, but they're only one strand of many. In fact, therapy without genuine connection may not be effective at all. You need friends. This idea is confirmed by a recent Harvard study that looked at all the social factors contributing to depression. They found the most powerful predictions of mental well-being were social connection. The study concluded that, quote, "The protective effects of social connection were present for even individuals who were at higher risk for depression as a result of genetic vulnerability or early life trauma." In other words, having strong relationships can act as a buffer against the negative impacts of trauma, even for those who are more susceptible to mental health challenges. And for children and youth who have experienced trauma, Their current level of connectedness is the best predictor of their mental health, even more so than the adversity they've faced. This highlights the incredible power of human connection in healing and recovery. It's not about having someone to talk to. It's about feeling seen, heard, and understood. And it's about knowing that you're not alone and that there are people who care about you and want to support you on your journey. And that, my friends, can make all the difference in the world. All right, I know, I might have bombarded you with too much scientific evidence and research findings, but I hope you understand why. If you care about your health at all, and you don't think developing a deep, meaningful relationships should be your top priority, you're missing out on the most potent medicines available. It's not that loneliness is inherently bad, it's that relationship and connections are profoundly healing and beneficial. To recap all that data, stronger relationships can double your health span, make you healthier, happier, and wealthier, help you recover faster from illness, reduce your risk of all sorts of diseases, slow down the aging process, and protect you from the consequences of a poor diet and lack of exercise. The list goes on. My heart aches when I see people struggling to improve their health while neglecting their social connections. They invest time and energy in medical interventions that may or may not be effective without the foundation of strong relationships. It's like trying to build a house on sand. It simply won't stand. There is nothing more enriching and fulfilling than having a supportive, exciting, sensual relationship. It's a fundamental reason why we're here, to connect with others on a deep and meaningful level. I understand the hesitation to harmonically put yourself out there. Without the right guidance, the search for love can be frustrating, disheartening, and even painful. But when you align yourself with your desires, when you're harmonizing with your dreams, the universe conspires to support you, making your journey shorter, faster, or more fulfilling than ever imagined. This isn't just about harmonizing with a romantic partner. It's about cultivating a small network of close friends, a community that lifts you and celebrates you in your journey. I just get so frustrated when people's practitioners are recommending a series of expensive IV bags or supplements when all the science says that without a relationship, it's not going to do anything. And I understand that Western and alternative and functional practitioners don't understand the importance of this solution. And worse yet, they don't have a clue to fix it. I do. And I'm going to help you step by step harmonize with the community and relationships of your dreams. Being in love is incredibly good for you. When people fall in love, often things that have been bothering them for ages suddenly improve. Why? Because their focus shifts towards something wonderful, elevating what they're in harmony with and allowing their desires to manifest more easily. So open your heart to the possibility of profound connection. Embrace the power of love and community to transform your health and your life. Quote, "The accumulated evidence shows that good social relationships have a greater effect on extending length of life than do such measures such as giving up smoking or drinking alcohol, maintaining a healthy diet, taking regular exercise, weight loss, or the treatment of high blood pressure." Quote, "A rich network of face-to-face relationships creates a biological force field against disease." I could go on. Do you see why I call this a hurdle? If you want to be healthy, you have to clear this. All of the science confirms how foolish it is to try and heal any problem if you haven't dealt with this. While the evidence concludes and confirms with every single study that loneliness is a killer, far more insidious than anyone realizes, it's really that the relationships are so life-giving. Cultivating meaningful connections can be a powerful antidote. Everyone wants more connection. It's hardwired in us for good reason. We love interacting with other people. We love game night. We love breaking bread with others. We love physical touch. We love helping others. It takes effort, but everything is stacked towards our success. Start prioritizing social connections. Make an effort each day. Volunteer at least 1 to 2 hours a week. Everyone is uplifted. People simply keep us healthy and heal us in ways that the entire medical system cannot. In the third hurdle, philosophy, we go over how to best get in harmony with the best people. But up next is the hurdle of purpose. Harmonic purpose. Finding your why. The greatest burden that a man can bear is a life without meaning. Carl Jung. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. When you give meaning, you can endure anything. Viktor Frankl. These profound words speak to the very core of human existence. People who feel they have a purpose, a reason for being, live longer, healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilling lives. And it doesn't matter what that purpose is, whether it's grand or seemingly mundane, as long as it resonates with your soul. Medical studies confirm that having a sense of purpose can lead to longer life, better blood pressure control, fewer cardiovascular events, improved functional status of older adults, reduced chronic inflammation, slower aging, increased willpower and stamina, more energy, better sleep, less depression, less anxiety, and greater happiness and fulfillment. Now, finding your purpose doesn't have to involve some grand, earth-shattering mission. You don't have to be trying to dismantle the world's broken medical system and replace it with an entirely new medical philosophy. Gee, I wonder what that's like. It can be as simple as loving your family and friends, being there for your community, or finding joy in the everyday moments. Seeing how many people you can uplift. As we've talked about this whole time, those are the most powerful healing things there are. And when you are living an inspired life, your purpose will find you. As Anita Morgiani beautifully puts it, quote, "We don't have to go in search of our mission or purpose. The more we search for it, the more it eludes us. We just have to be ourselves and find joy in the present moment, or do what calls us in the present moment, and our mission will unfold." So the advice is to start to seek joy, pure connection to who you really are, and share it with the world. Let's see if science has anything to say about how we can amp it up more and give our lives more purpose. The gift of giving. One of the most powerful ways to discover and cultivate purpose is through service to others. Volunteering, for example, offers a double dose of benefit. It gives you a sense of purpose and strengthens your social connections. They trained subjects to give therapeutic massages to babies 1 to 3 months old and gave massages 3 times a week. They found that giving the massages resulted in lower cortisol levels and less feelings of anxiety and depression than those receiving them. The University of Michigan analyzed the data of 340 adults to determine if volunteering had any effect on cortisol levels. They discovered that on days the participants volunteered, their cortisol levels were lower than on days they did not volunteer. The researchers suggested that volunteering could be used as an intervention for people in stressful situations. Volunteering in the service of others amongst 55 and over was associated with a 24% lower mortality risk. Participants who did at least 100 hours of volunteering per year, roughly 2 hours a week, had a significant reduced risk of physical functioning limitations. High volunteers, giving their time to 2 charitable organizations, had a 44% lower mortality risk than non-volunteers. 300,000 spouses who volunteer to serve others do have a lower mortality risk, but their non-volunteering spouses who slept in the same bed, ate the same food, and hung out with the same friends do not get the same longevity benefit. The subjects who volunteered for at least 200 hours over the previous year, roughly 4 hours per week, were 40% less likely to develop high blood pressure compared to non-volunteers. 73 subjects were given $40 by researchers and told to either spend it on themselves or on someone else over a 6-week period. Those that were assigned to spend it on others had significantly lower blood pressure at the end of 6 weeks than those that were told to spend it on themselves. According to these researchers, giving was just as good as blood pressure lowering medications. The biggest predictor of blood pressure spikes wasn't whether or not the subject was tightly wound, like a stress ball. The better tell was self-absorption. Volunteering to serve others is associated with a big bag of mental goodies. Not only reduced depression, but better self-reported health and better general functioning, and also better smarts related to preserved cognitive ability. If you want to protect yourself against Alzheimer's, volunteer. They took 159 adults and put them in groups to perform acts of kindness for 4 weeks in one of 3 ways: towards specific others, towards the world in general, and towards caring for oneself. Only one group showed reduced inflammation markers, and that was the ones caring for a specific people in their lives. Researchers tested the Be Good to Yourself advice for depression on 47 high schoolers for a year. One group focused on self-indulgence, the Live to Party group, while the other group focused on giving to others, the Live to Give group. After the year, the Live to Give teens had significantly lower depression, and the Live to Party group's depression actually increased. If you're depressed, volunteering is the way to go, not being nice to yourself. Giving money does not work. Time-giving behavior does. Compared to those with the strongest sense of purpose, those with the least purpose in life had double the risk of death over the study period. In other words, volunteering is one of the best ways to increase social health, increase your sense of purpose, and increase your health and lifespan. And it's free. And yes, trauma is reduced by increasing volunteering and increasing your life purpose. Children with ACE scores who are given compassionate training have a reduction in inflammation markers, a correlate to all disease. The all-encompassing trauma is affected by life purpose too. So embrace your purpose in life. Add volunteering time each week. Follow what brings genuine joy into your heart and allow purpose to unfold naturally. And with that, let's move on and explore the final harmonic hurdle: philosophy.
The law of harmony is a philosophy and unified theory on how the world works. It purports that you can, in essence, harmonize and receive anything you want. It's an umbrella term that describes how thoughts are able to interact and influence the external physical world. It's all over the sciences, including self-fulfilling prophecy, self-defeating prophecy, Streisand effect, perverse results, victim mentality, Cobra effect, placebo effect, nocebo effect, Pygmalion effect, Gollum effect, homophily, Goodhart's law, perverse incentives, behavior confirmation effect, boomerang effect, and psychological reactance, to name a few.
As all unified theories are, attempting to explain everything, they are not suitable for sound bites. There are countless nuances, and it needs to be studied in depth. What it's not: toxic positivity, victim blaming, an extension of the little engine that could philosophy, or a method to force others to do your will. This video series covers the philosophy and its practical application. I will present this concisely using the best scientific evidence available. This way you can rewatch it without repetitive stories. The more this philosophy is embraced, the happier and more fulfilled with life you will be. Your relationships will be richer and more delicious, and the healthier your physical body will be. Everything is science-backed, and I ask you not to judge by its theories, science, or facts, but by its fruits. Part 1. Foundation. All pleasures are substitutes for joy. The purpose of life is joy, not mere hedonic pleasure, but genuine, soul-satisfying joy. It's why you came. The basis of this life is freedom. Free will abounds in all circumstances. The result of the basis and purpose of life is growth. But note, growth isn't the purpose, it's the result. The purpose is still joy, because when you seek true joy, that means you are connected to an infinite power and have complete harmony. You are here to express your own unique true self. Always be an expression of your own true essence. Anita Morgiani. Law of Harmony 101. Welcome to the first day of Harmony 101, a philosophy that purports you can, in essence, harmonize with anything you want. Living life will give you contrasting experiences, and that will help inspire desire within you. That's unavoidable and a good thing. You can't know what you want without experiencing what you don't want first. Once you have discovered what you don't want, then you can work on getting in harmony or alignment with your new desire. Once you are in harmony with it and feel good about it, then the universe will deliver to you the shortest, fastest, quickest, easiest, cheapest path, and it will be a path of inspiration, not of trial and errors or a numbers game. Along your path there will be indicators of your harmony. Every manifestation will let you know what you are in harmony with. If it feels good, you are on the path. If it feels bad, you are off the path. That's how you can know if you are getting closer or further away. Here is Harmony's 101 outline. Almost all questions and confusions about harmony are resolved if you understand these three primary factors in depth. 1. Any action taken from a place of lack will do nothing at best, or will backfire at worst. 2. Your thoughts are your point of harmony. Actions, rituals, happy-sounding words don't matter unless they change your thoughts. 3. Always and only focus on the end result. Let's do a deep dive into each of these. This means that if something makes you feel bad, scared, angry, or receive any indication of negative emotion, and you jump into action to try and fix it, your results will be fruitless at best, or you will get the opposite effect at worst because you didn't get in harmony with what you wanted first. Modern psychological science calls this the law of unintended consequences, or psychological reactance. Colloquially, it's called the Streisand effect. Yes, after the actor Barbra Streisand. Someone was working on an environmental project taking pictures of the California coastline. The project's goal was to document coastal erosion to influence government policymakers. As riveting as this project sounds, sadly, nobody really much looked or cared about this project or even looked at the pictures. Barbra Streisand's house was in the background of one of these pictures, but it infuriated her that it was on the internet. They didn't label her house or put her name on it or anything like that, but she was livid. She sued the photographer with a $50 million privacy lawsuit. Now, what's interesting is that when they filed the lawsuit, the photo focused on the eroding coastline with her house in the background had been seen a grand total of 4 times. That's until the lawsuit became public 1 month later, and the photo had now been seen 420,000 times. She lost the lawsuit and was forced to pay back all the defendant's attorney fees. In her attempts to take action from a place of lack, trying to make sure nobody saw her house, more people than ever saw her house. Taking action from a feeling place of lack totally backfired on her, and this applies to health, wealth, relationships, everything. And this isn't a new awareness either. This phenomenon was recorded 2,400 years ago in China, pronounced Qinjairu, translated as wishing to cover, more conspicuous. This is just how the universe is set up. And we don't even need to look at ancient history or the Streisand effect because we've experienced and witnessed this in our own lives. It's such a common phenomenon, it's a trope, as we all have heard these stories. For example, what happens to the man who gets rejected by a woman and he thinks it's about his height or his physique? He gets furiously upset and angrily drives to the gym, racks on the weight and starts pumping ferociously. Yep, he gets injured. And what happens to the angry woman who screeches, "I'm just sick of men using me. I want a decent man for once." Who does she find at the clubs? Yep, the worst one of all, one that uses her like no other did before. And we all know people who are petrified of germs, toxins, dirt, and how much time they spend sterilizing and mask wearing, and yet their kids are the ones who are sick all the time. But I hope you've picked up on the fact that we have sort of a conundrum here. You wouldn't take action unless you felt bad or wanted to fix something. So what are we supposed to do? Everything is created metaphysically or spiritually first, just like a chair was first in the mind of the craftsman. When we don't take time to create and thus harmonize with what we want first, the outcome will do nothing at best and backfire at worst. For example, if we wanted to build a house and got to the job site with piles of material sitting there and we told everyone just start nailing boards together with no direction, there is no way a house would ever be constructed. So, whenever we experience something we don't want, we want to stop right there. It is in this stage of clarity that you know best what you do want. Armed with this newfound and well-earned clarity, we can go forth and use harmony to get what we want, in essence. After Part 1 Foundation of Harmony 101, we will teach you in detail how to move from a place of lack to a feeling place of abundance, and then be in harmony with taking inspired action. Your thoughts are your point of harmony. Actions, rituals, or happy-sounding words don't matter unless they change your thoughts. How you think about something is like tuning the radio dial. Only your hands can touch your own radio dial. You have the absolute power to think about anything you want to. You have the freedom to think whatever you want to think. For example, if you sit down and start writing, "Things that I love about my beloved." As you write, you have tuned to this station. You will write everything you can think of, but then you will start to get more and more things to write down. They are just popping into your head because, like a radio, you have tuned to this station. Do this every day and more things will come to you. You have harmonized with things that you appreciate about your beloved, and thus you will get more of that. And it is your conscious thoughts that are your point of attraction. Some people give their control away, never a good idea, and say that they aren't where they want to be because they must have some subconscious thoughts holding them back. This is not true because only your active thoughts are your point of harmony. In the previous example, without sitting down and writing each day the things you appreciate about your beloved, you would never just start to have things you appreciate about them pop into your head. Those thoughts were the result of consciously tuning. So you don't need to worry about your subconscious thoughts as they can't harmonize with you, because you're not even consciously aware of them. This notion of subconscious thoughts was coined by Sigmund Freud, but he quickly recanted as it's not a provable thing. You can't, and nobody can, label subconscious beliefs or thoughts they have because in that second it's conscious, and that's what the word means, below conscious thought. It's basically a blame game. Remember how blame feels better than guilt? Some say, "I certainly would not have rendezvoused with that. It must be something else." Subconscious beliefs, yes, they did it. It must have been those because I didn't do it to myself. The sooner we drop the blame game and acknowledge that we have control, then we are empowered. That's the tipping point in which your whole life will start to change, because if we did it, we can undo it. If subconscious beliefs did it, then we can never know if we undid it. So things like subliminal messaging or listening to affirmations while we sleep, as all the scientific studies confirm, they are ineffective. Only our conscious thoughts are our point of attraction, and we have the power to think about anything we want to at any time. Can you think about a pink elephant now, if you choose to? Now, some people say it's too hard to think thoughts about a subject, and I understand when you stub your toe and it's throbbing in pain, it's sometimes all we can think about. Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist sent to the Nazi concentration camps in Auschwitz, and he realized that, quote, "Despite the cruelty visited on prisoners by the guards, the beatings, the torture, and the constant threats of death, there was one part of their lives that remained free: their own minds. The hopes, imagination, and dreams of prisoners were up to them, despite their awful circumstances. This inner ability was the real human freedom." Frankl learned that regardless of the circumstances, we all still have the absolute power to think any thoughts we want to. Life happens, but we are in control of how we relate to those events. Now, we all have to admit that our lives are really not more difficult than being in a Nazi concentration camp. So if he can do it, so can we. We can find better thoughts on all subjects. Sometimes it's true we are literally in throbbing pain, like the mourning loss of a loved one, and the pain is just too consuming. This is when we have license for healthy distraction, like binge watch a funny show, take lots of warm baths, go on lawn walks, or chat up with friends. The pain will fade, and we can work on changing our thoughts later. 3. Always and only focus on the end result. In essence, in the first part of this video, I said that you can harmonize with anything you want in essence. What does in essence mean? Well, let's tell a story. A fellow was stuck on his rooftop in a flood. He was praying to God for help. Soon a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." The stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay. I'm praying to God that He is going to save me." So the rowboat went on. Then a motorboat came by. The fellow in the motorboat shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." To this, the stranded man said, "No thanks. I'm praying to God, and He is going to save me. I have faith." So the motorboat went on. Then a helicopter came by, and the pilot shouted, "Grab this rope, I will lift you to safety." To this, the stranded man replied again, "No thanks, I'm praying to God, and He is going to save me. I have faith." So the helicopter reluctantly flew away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop, and the man drowned. He went to heaven. He finally got his chance to discuss the whole situation with God, in which he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, but you didn't save me. You let me down. I don't understand why." To this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat and a motorboat and a helicopter. What more did you expect?" We don't know exactly precisely what this man was waiting for, but in essence, he was wanting to be rescued. His problem is the problem of many. The universe is sending you the essence of what you really want, but for some reason, since it doesn't look exactly like what we have been intending, we discount it. You can have anything you want in essence means that while you may not receive the exact thing that you wanted, if you are in harmony, you will still get the essence of your desire. It just may look differently than you thought, and that's a very good thing. How we find the essence of our desire is to keep asking yourself, and why do I want that? The bottom line is generally you want to be more of who you are. You want to have a good feeling body. You want freedom. You want clarity. You want happiness. Don't be like the man who turned away everything just because he thought it didn't seem like what he envisioned. Some people may think they want a relationship with one specific person, and that's their intention. If this is anybody's intention, it shows lack of trust in the universe and a fundamental misunderstanding of harmony. Why? Because you may think this person checks every box, but the universe knows that you want a lifelong monogamous relationship, you want to have your own kids, you want someone that loves to travel, who is a good parent, or countless other harmonic intentions. You don't know what the future brings with this specific person, but the universe does. That's why you have to trust that the universe does know your intentions and is always 100% of the time matching you up with what the harmonic offering you are giving off. Yes, you can 100% ignore the universe, not making it flow with ease, and still get together, but one day you'll find out why. Yeah, you might have a pile of kids and need to go through a hellish divorce, or every day is a waking nightmare, but you get the freedom to ignore the universe's indicators of why it wasn't super easy and flowy with them all the time. This is why you need to trust the universe. So I work with people all the time who successfully and properly set their intention, got in alignment with their desires, and they are genuinely satisfied in the now, eager for more, which is the perfect stance for all life. And then boom, something seemingly unwanted happens. For example, their significant other breaks up with them, they lose their job, or any other seemingly unwanted things. And do you know what happens to too many? Most downward spiral, getting angry and bitter, hating this harmonic work. If they just trusted the universe and relaxed a bit, and knew that everything was happening because of their intentions and alignment, things would continue to improve, and I'm going to scientifically prove it. Do you remember from the previous video about the morning of the 9/11 attacks? the 4 planes, and just those 4 planes for some reason had about half of the passengers they usually did. These 4 flights were typically lower passenger-filled flights, but on just that day, they were all half as full as they normally were, 31% on aggregate. Statistically, 1 plane could be explained, 2, however, cannot. 3 flights are not even the realm of real numbers, and 4 is so astronomically beyond all explainable probabilities that something metaphysical is certainly going on here. Since we are studying harmonic law, we know what the answer is. The missing people were more in harmony to living that day. Among them were Michael Jackson, Seth MacFarlane, and Mark Wahlberg, and many more. They were all supposed to be on the flights or in that building. Seth was told the wrong time, 8:15 instead of 7:45, and Mark thought it would be more fun to charter a jet with his friends instead. Similarly, when the Twin Towers collapsed, they should have had about 6,000 people in them, yet only about half were in there. Similar evidence was found about train crashes in the 1950s. Back up a bit, and there were a lot of upset people that fateful day. Some experienced their car breaking down. Their family made them late for work. They got sick. They missed the bus. Their family got sick, so they stayed home. They spent too much time at breakfast with their friend. There were no taxis to be found. They were told the wrong time to go to the airport. They missed their flight. They missed their subway. They got in a fender bender. Or they got fired the week before. Or. Literally thousands of events happened that made them not be at the wrong place at the wrong time. If one of those seemingly unwanted events happened to you, at face value, you may think, why did I attract this into my life? Maybe they did too, but little did they know the universe was literally saving their life. Now, is the universe only working on big traumatic events? No, that's silly. Is the universe only working when death is on the line? No, that's ridiculous. It is an irrefutable fact that the universe is working all day, 24/7, 365, and you are unknowingly missing all kinds of unwanted things every single day. We've all personally experienced some, if not all, of those types of unwanted, inexplicable events. Just because we don't have correlate data like our office didn't blow up or our plane didn't crash doesn't mean that we are not saved in a very literal way from unwanted people, events, accidents, conversations, diseases, jobs, relationships, traffic, being late or early, missed getting a traffic light or ticket, not getting a job, etc. all the time. So it's worth pondering. Einstein said the most important question in all of life is it a friendly universe? With the knowledge of harmony, do you see how empowering Einstein's question is? If something seemingly bad or unwanted happens to you, if you know the universe is friendly and has your back, are you in anger or appreciation? You're a student of harmony. You are in appreciation. Are you ever going to know what worst thing the universe saved you for with the seemingly bad or unwanted thing happening to you? 99.99% of the time, no. But you have enough irrefutable scientific evidence for you to ponder and pause. So the question is, can you remain in a state of appreciation and connection and not dive into anger, frustration, revenge, or powerlessness when something seemingly unwanted happens to you? There isn't anyone who has been in a traffic accident that has pondered, what if I was just 2 seconds slower or faster? All of this would have been avoided. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you may initially knee-jerk with anger, but what if that driver literally saved your life? Isn't it better to vibrate and harmonize with appreciation than anger? Harmonic law says yes. So these are kind of fun, sticky thoughts. You will have no trouble ever forgetting this information. One, because it's data around such a big event like 9/11, and because of the truths like this adhere to your soul in an inexplicable manner. So when bad or unwanted events seemingly happen to you, Take a step back and don't fret, because there is irrefutable scientific evidence that it is all for your good. And yes, the universe has your back. Not because it's nice or mean. Harmonic law is 100% impartial, like gravity. You just won't match up with unwanted because you are not in harmony with it. So let's go back to the third point of always and only focus on the end result. So what is the end result of a desire in essence? Does harmonic law say that you can create anything that you want? No. Can you plant a corn seed and grow an international space station? No. Or can you manifest a kitten to grow into an elephant? No. But can you manifest something outrageous and amazing and undeniable that shows you your power? Yes. Can you manifest Bill Gates to give you all his money? No. Harmonic law doesn't let you control others' free will. Can you get in harmony with outrageous financial abundance and become a billionaire yourself with no help from Bill? Yes. Can you force someone to fall in love with you? Or can you force someone to text you? No. Can you get in harmony with a delicious mutual relationship and attract someone who is in perfect harmony with your vibrational offering? Yes. Because that's what you really want, in essence. In answering the question, how specific should we be? The rule of thumb is be as specific as you can and still feel a positive emotional indicator. For example, if you want $1 billion by Friday, that's probably too specific. If you want to be shown your abundance in a fun and creative way, that feels much better. Now, a lot of people don't trust the universe. They sort of want to micromanage everything. But in that effort, you are showing your lack of trust, and you can't receive it under those conditions. Let's say there is water running down a mountainside. Some people have no trust and they want to yell at the universe and try to give us suggestions on what path the water should run down. You don't need to do that. It knows the fastest way. So don't try and micromanage any of the middle steps. You just focus on the end result of feeling healthy, being in a delicious relationship, feeling free and abundance, or whatever else. The universe can surprise and delight you in ways you haven't even dreamed. Isn't a surprise gift so much more satisfying than one you just bought? Isn't a life-changing experience that teaches you how loved and powerful you are much better than just reading the words, "You are loved and powerful"? Yes. So don't fret being somewhat general about your intentions and enjoy the endless parade of surprising and delighting events. Examples of not focusing on the end result: test scores, getting into a specific school, any amount of money, getting a specific job, specific actions of specific people. All of these are middle steps to the end result. So those that don't yet have experience in trusting the universe want to micromanage everything. If you want to know how close you are getting to your manifestation, just think about the subject, and if you feel happy and your soul is soaring at the mere thought, you can be assured that you are getting closer. If you are feeling sad, frustrated, that it's not here, or are impatient, you can know that you have stalled its advancement. Quote, "If you don't feel happy about the money, it can't come. If you feel sad that it hasn't come yet, you're a match to it not coming yet. So it continues to not come because that's the vibration you're practicing." Abraham Hicks. You have to enjoy the process. The really and happy fun road leads to a really and happy fun destination. The frustrated, annoyed, and sad road leads to frustrated, annoyed, and sad destinations. It is law. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. These are the foundational pillars to understand how harmony works. We will refer to them again and again. Let's go to part 2, application. Part 2, application in depth, setting your intention. Since our thoughts are our points of harmony, most people, most of the time, harmonize with whatever is in front of them. There is no intentionality, no direction of thought. They just think about whatever comes across their path. They sort of harmonize and live a life of default. But we don't want to be like that. We want to live life deliberately. So many people never sit down and set their intention. Imagine just starting to drive wherever you feel like it, hoping that you'd end up where you want to go. You would get there faster if you entered in the destination into your navigation first and then followed it. Why following your guidance is the worst advice ever, unless. So many people give the advice to others, follow their inner guidance, which I'm going to say is the worst advice ever, if they never sat down and set their intention, which is the most important part. Your guidance depends on what you are harmonizing with, just like what radio station you hear depends on where you set the dial. And if you have a history of rendezvousing with things you didn't like, then you need to adjust your harmony, not keep following your guidance. You need to change the station, then listen to what it's telling you. Following your guidance to the wrong station is what got you into this mess. For example, in the classic trope of the young woman whose friends are all getting married, she feels like her beauty is starting to fade and she has no romantic prospects. She starts to feel a little panicky and frantic about finding a husband. She's out almost every night looking for a guy. She has seemingly an endless stream of one-night stands and guys that just use her. She constantly complains to her girlfriends about it, and she even starts to make it a joke, like I'm a jerk magnet. She gets lots of attention and sympathy from her friends, and they always like to hear about what her latest drama is. In frustration, inside she is screaming, I want a nice guy who won't just use me. This is a terrible intention that will backfire for sure, because words don't matter. The universe doesn't hear your words, only your harmonic offering of thought. And it doesn't matter if her claimed intention is a nice guy for once. Her harmonic offering is the opposite. So one of her friends sits her down and says, girl, you gotta follow your feelings. If a guy feels off, it is. She thanks her for the advice and heads out for a night on the town. She goes to a club, and before she walks in, she internalizes again, I'm gonna feel this one out. Of course, she did nothing to change what type of guy she's in harmony with. This is a unique day at the club because there are 100 guys there, 99 of which whom are great, upstanding guys who would be good to her and for her. They are looking for marriage, they have their act together, they are well-integrated men. And then there is just one there to exclusively use women. She walks into the club so disappointed because it seems that almost everyone there, she's just not feeling it at all. She can see that most are quite attractive, but she just feels zero attraction to them. There's no spark. She comforts herself by saying, it's a good thing because she's listening to her feelings this time. And then she sees him. The one attractive guy in the whole club lights up like a Christmas tree. It feels so good, so right. She can feel a profound physiological and psychological attraction towards him. And he finds her too. They have great harmony. And it feels so right because they are literally on the same wavelength, same harmonic offering, same vibration, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter if all her friends tell her, no, not him. She won't hear it. She knows it. She feels it. Wild horses couldn't stop her. And you know the rest of the story. She finds the guy that uses her more than anyone else ever did. Now she's even more confused about that advice. Listening to her gut, she's even more angry and bitter and disheartened. She feels powerless. And we know how dangerous that status can be. So I just cringe every time I hear someone give that advice. I want to add, make 100% sure you are in harmony with your desire, and then, and only then, is that the best advice ever. So many people complain that they ended up not where they wanted to be, which is confusing because they just said they were following what felt right. And I ask, okay, let's figure this out. What was your intention that you set? I didn't really set one. I don't need to ask if they got in harmony with their intention if they didn't set one. You absolutely have to set your intention first and then get in harmonic alignment with your desire, and then you can follow your guidance to exactly where you intended. The best way to explain this is through examples. So I'm going to create videos on the same channel of exactly how to get in harmony. step by step, in every major category of life, like relationships, health, and wealth. I believe this to be the best philosophy to adopt because it honors the laws of the universe. If you choose a philosophy that's not going to honor the laws of the universe, you're going to have a very difficult life. And there's another huge correlate to success in every aspect of your life. And we're going to talk about that next. It is the feeling of control. We're going to go over some of the best foundational and fun tools to build your harmony fast. Do you know the story of the woman who lifted the corner of her car up to save her child? She wasn't in the gym car lifting each day in preparation. While her day-to-day resistance was big about her ability to lift up a car, in this circumstance, in this situation, her desire was bigger and she tipped the scale. It was big enough to overcome the big resistance. So you can try and amp up desire, but it's hard to manufacture situations like hers. Therefore, it's much easier to just let go of resistance. In other words, if you are driving a vehicle and your foot is on the accelerator and the brake, if you want to go faster, it will work better if you let go of the brake than trying to give it more gas. Resistance to our desires are the thoughts we think. We may want a new relationship with an excellent person, but we have a long history of poor thoughts to overcome. These old thoughts are resistance to our desires. Letting them go is like letting go of a cork that we are holding under the water. Resistance-free is our natural state. So it's not about learning to do new things, we just need to stop doing the things that are keeping us from our natural floating state. That's why all the processes, tools, and protocols to help one get into alignment are just about releasing resistance by getting in harmony with what you want. The foundational 3 tools. 1. Meditation. Like we just said, we are like corks in the water. Floating to the top of the water is our natural, happy, connected, in harmony state. When we disconnect ourselves, it's like we are holding the cork under the water and we are no longer in harmony with who we are or what we want. Like a record on a loop, all of the thoughts that we endlessly think that aren't true. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to get this. I don't deserve it. I can't do it. Holds us down. When we stop those thoughts, we jump back to the top naturally. This is why one of the most powerful tools for harmonic aligning with the universe is meditation. It helps train the anxious brain to a calm brain. And only in that silence, when all of our habitual thoughts stop, can we hear the call of inspiration. Meditation helps harmonize you with your desires and helps to more easily understand and feel our emotions, which makes hearing inspiration much clearer. One of the most common complaints around the globe is people can't differentiate the difference from their own thoughts or the call of inspiration. They don't know how to follow their guidance, and you know why. Most of this is because they didn't set their intention and they didn't get in alignment with their desire. This makes perfect sense, as people aren't getting to where they want to go because they never entered the destination into their GPS. Science confirms that people who are long-term meditators' fight, flight, freeze response no longer fires in the brain when something stressful happens. Meditators perpetually get into what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is when you are relaxed and your body's in a healing mode. When something seemingly unwanted happens, not knee-jerking and downward spiraling into negative emotion is exactly what you want to happen. This is why it is the #1 tool for deliberate, harmonic creators. If you are not doing this every single day, start now. There are countless other benefits to your physical, mental, and relationship health as well. The list is so long I had to stop making it. One thing I found interesting is they can hook couples up to machines that measure their stress metrics and observe as they have conversations. The couples that jump into fight and flight while their partners are talking have their relationships degrade year over year. Which makes sense because when your body thinks there is danger, you can't listen well, empathize, or creative problem solve. Your hearing and seeing narrows, and it makes people feel like their partners attack them, even if they're not. This is just a side effect of the fight, flight, or freeze sympathetic nervous system. This is called the amygdala hijack, where you don't really have a choice. The fear center of your brain is hijacking things. So of course their relationships get worse and worse regardless of how happy they were in the beginning. One of the best predictors of relationship success is how much the relax and repair or rest and digest or parasympathetic nervous system is activated. All you have to do is this. For 15 to 20 minutes, sit or lay down in a quiet room alone. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Go for long, slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths. When other thoughts come, and they will, gently release them and focus back on your breathing. Your brain is going to want to do anything else. The benefit is not giving attention to the little voice in the mind that is endlessly giving commentary on everything you see, hear, feel, and do. Then go about your day. That's it. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. I know it may be hard to find the time, but it's worth it. 2. Appreciation. You have already seen that appreciation is a tool that is already being used in the previous examples quite prevalently. Before we dive in, I'm going to make a slight differentiation between gratitude and appreciation. Not in every case, but most cases when people are grateful for something, they are grateful for the new reliable car because they are remembering that yucky feeling of their old junky unreliable car. And they sure are grateful that they aren't driving around that bucket of bolts anymore. Appreciation is more powerful because it's just pure love. In fact, harmonically, love and appreciation are identical. And love is who you really are as well, so appreciation is a perfect match to you and all you desire. Since whatever you focus on expands in your situational awareness, when you focus on things I appreciate, this is what you will be shown all the time. And when you consciously see it and think about it and talk about it and write about it and blog about it and post about it and journal about it, it will just happen more and more. Your life will spiral upwards. So a notebook is one of the most powerful tools of all because you can take lots of time to write long lists of things you appreciate about every aspect of your life. Make yourself stretch. Don't worry about duplicates from the day before. When you feel love and appreciation for something, write it down again. Sit there each day and think. Even if you can't think anymore, push yourself to keep doing it. What else do I love? Because as you sit there for a few minutes, as you keep focusing on the things that you love, trying to find more things, this changes your harmony for your whole life as well, not just the subject you're thinking of. As you tune into this channel, more things will pop into your mind. You will know when you've reached a tipping point when in the middle of your day, more things to appreciate start to hit you randomly. Oh great, this is another thing I can add to my list. Celebrate this day. You have now started to move into your harmonic set point. Like tuning a new radio station, you have now harmonized with more, quote, things that I love coming into your life. That's the station you want to be tuned to. And yes, this works for more specific things. Make a new segment in your notebook called Everyone is So Nice to Me, My Financial Abundance, My Body, My Business Opportunities, Romantic Partners, whatever you want to see more of in your life. 3. Visualization derivatives. I find it so odd that the brain doesn't know if you are really experiencing it or just imagining it. It feels the same for you harmonically. Therefore, if you go there in the mind, you will soon go there in the body. Visualization is about harmony. Visualization isn't about getting the whatever you want. It's about enjoying and becoming acclimated to the feeling of offering no resistance about the subject. So pick whatever scene or situation you want and enjoy it. See yourself with the romantic partner. See yourself in a house. See yourself on the vacation. Experiencing yourself laughing with your friends. See your good-feeling body moving in fun ways. Get all of your senses involved. It's about becoming normalized to the feeling of having whatever you want. Everything you have in your life right now feels normal. You want the object of your desire to feel just as normal as well. Segment intending. A good time to visualize is right before you're going into a new segment or scenario, like work or driving or a meeting or dinner. Right before you go, take some time and visualize how you want it to go in essence. See yourself doing well and enjoying yourself right before you get there. And remember the lessons from part 1. Always and only focus on the end result. See yourself enjoying getting to your destination. Don't intend safety. That would only intend safety if there was a danger you were trying to avoid. Telling a new story. This is one of the most powerful and underutilized tools because stories are so compelling. So many people get stuck and identify with their old story of woe and lack and troubles or sickness and victim. If there is a part of your life not going well, never go back and retell that story, even if it gets you sympathy and attention. That's dangerously disruptive. Change the story from that terrible experience to that experience that helped me to ask in the clearest, strongest way than ever before. Without that experience, I could have never received what I have now. Old stories like that can be literally deadly, so that story dies today and forevermore. Use it for the desire that it helped launch and never revisit it in any way ever again. So unless your life is going exactly how you want it, it's time to tell a new story. Spend 15 to 20 minutes and write a new description of your new self. Write this description from the third person, perhaps as you think a close friend or colleague would see you. Whatever characteristics you want. Include a description of the new you, focused on how you will behave differently in everyday situations. Write about how cool, calm, and relaxed you are. How fun your life is, how funny you are, how much you laugh, what your attitude is to challenges, how fun your friends are, how delicious your relationships are, how generous you are, how rich you are, how much love you have for others, how much you appreciate your friends. Whatever you want. Spend at least 2 weeks role-playing this new identity. Fine-tune it, edit it, focus on behavior, not thoughts. See if you can't get a friend to play along with you. See yourself ongoing permanent change. Play it all out, especially when you are alone. Soon enough, this will become your new identity and what you are set to harmonically. Wouldn't it be nice if game? Another fun game is saying, wouldn't it be nice if blank? This is much less resistant than saying, I want blank. Feel it out. Doesn't it feel better to say, wouldn't it be nice if I experienced a fun way for money to come to me versus, I want more money? One is lighthearted and open to possibilities. The other makes you feel bad as it makes you ask, yeah, but how? Where is it going to come from? Who's going to give it to me? The wallet process. Put $100 real cash in your wallet and spend it 1,000 times each day in your mind. I could buy that and that and that. This helps you feel abundant and normalize it. Vision board. We've all heard of vision boards, and if this sounds like something really fun to do, then do it. Put pictures of things that you love on the poster and enjoy looking at it and taking items off and putting new ones on. Magical creation box. Cut out pictures of things you love and put them in a box with the phrase, whatever I want to be will be if I put it in this box. These are all basic visualizing techniques. Some say they can't visualize. That's okay. Just learning the principle behind visualization is enough. We just want to make it feel normal any way you can, and there's lots more processes that sound more fun to you. If you are struggling with which of these tools to use, why not use harmonic law to help you pick? Isn't it nice that you can use the law of harmony to best apply the law of harmony? So do the harmonic work just like the previous examples. Set your intentions. Find that delicious feeling place of finding the perfect for you personally tools or protocols. Then get in alignment and the perfect protocol and pathway will be delivered. Some subjects like money, visualization might be the best for you, when other topics, visualization is going to stop all your progress. The right tool is the inspired tool, every single time, no exception. We're all kind of mixed bag of harmonic offerings. We want so much in some areas, we struggle in others, we have straight up other blocks in other areas. Therefore, the path to what you want is a custom path, so complex to navigate all around your hang-ups and integrate so perfectly into your situation and your budget and your economy and where you are and your access to materials and your attention span, etc. The only way it can be pulled off with perfection is to have the universe deliver to you a customized plan to you and for only you. After you are in alignment, one or many of these tools will just hit you. That's the one for me for this subject, and you'll practice it with great success. Anyone saying that this is the one tool that you should always use, you can summarily dismiss them because they're disregarding the flexibility and dynamic nature of people in life. We're not robots or machines. One thing doesn't always work for all time and all people. The inspired, universe-given tool is always the right answer. And remember, if any process isn't joyful in the doing of it, it's not the right one for you. Or it makes you more aware of your lack. Discontinue. If it's a chore, you're doing it wrong. Affirmations are not recommended unless the internet is awash with all kinds of terrible tools. These operate on the false premise, more words must be more better. This treats the universe like a vending machine that if we ask in the right way enough, put in the right coins, once we reach the enough, it will give us the goods. You do not need more asking. You need more allowance. More asking usually just matches you up to the awareness you don't have it yet. And if you are more in the lack, then you will always keep lacking instead of having. You never order something online again and again and again until it comes. You order it once and know it's coming. Affirmations or their derivatives I never recommend because they can too easily backfire. They have the lowest success rates as well. Affirmations can be great if one specific aspect of your life is going amazingly well and you want to amp it up even more. Like you have a huge pile of money and want an even bigger pile. You can use affirmations as inspired. But since we remember lesson 1 from day 1, that any action taken from a place of lack will backfire on you, affirmations are a surefire way to get what you don't want fast. I have countless stories of people saying, I started affirmations on weight loss and gained weight, or to make more sales and my sales went down, or to get clearer skin and I broke out, or to get a better grade and I failed my first test ever, or to get more money and I have an unavoidable huge car expense. Let's be honest, if mere chanting affirmations work, everyone would quickly and easily get everything they wanted. Because if it's just a matter of doing them, we'd all just do it and be done. But they don't really fundamentally change our thoughts on a subject. Use them as inspired to amp up things already going well. Don't use affirmations to try and overcome unwanted. 4. Tricks and tips. I created that. Tip: when something comes into our life, the first thing we should say is, I created that. When something unwanted comes into our life, we should say, I created that. When we take responsibility for all things that we rendezvous with in life, even things we really weren't sure we had a harmonic hand in doing, we endow ourselves with control and all power going forward. I will talk later about how important the feeling of control is. Harmonic theory isn't a vending machine. Many people think of the previous tools like coins they put in some sort of harmonic vending machine in the sky. They aren't really changing how they think and therefore feel on these subjects in their life. That's uncomfortable and hard. They're going through the motions and the literal mechanics of the protocols in order to get the goods. Tip: you do not need to ask for external signs. There is no uniform meeting schedule, meaning you can't just make up sign agreements on demand. And the worst part of whatever you focus on expands in your own experiential awareness. So whatever you pick, no matter how seemingly insecure, you will see. So that'll confuse things. But the main reason is that we have something much better in every single way. We have our emotions with us 24/7. Since day one, and it's so clear and beautiful. Just think about a subject in your life. Boom, we get an emotional indicator. Good is good. Bad means not so good. How simple and elegant is that? When we feel good, we are aligned with our source, desires, intentions, universe, and we are on the path and our manifestations are coming. When we feel not so good, we are not so aligned with the source, desires, intention, or universe, and we are not on the path, and we are holding off our desired manifestations. Tip: keep your intentions to yourself. According to research, sharing your goals publicly can decrease your likelihood of achieving them because it creates a premature sense of accomplishment, essentially rewarding you for simply stating your intention rather than actually compelling you to do the work needed to reach your goal. This phenomenon is often referred to as the positive fantasy trap and is supported by studies from psychologists like Peter Goldwitzer, who found that publicizing intentions can lead to reduced motivation to follow through. Tip: letting go. There is this concept that in order for you to get in harmony with what you want, you need to let go or detach or forget the desire. This is wrong and an impossibility, and I can prove that right now. It's true that everything you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. Boil down all of your desires, and that is indeed the essence of all you desire. Therefore, you can't ever really detach or forget about or let go of your desires of heart to feel better. It's literally impossible, and your desires aren't bad. That's why you came. The remembrance of something does not correlate with its manifestation, only your resistance to it. And I can prove that right now, too. I bet you anything, last week you wanted food. And if you didn't get it, that's pretty much the number one thing on your list. Now, in order to manifest food, did you have to forget about the desire? No, that's silly. You wanted food a lot. You remembered you wanted food a lot. You talked about food a lot. And you thought about food a lot, and you got food a lot. You got it not because you had to forget the desire or let go or detach, but because you didn't have any resistance about it. You didn't doubt. So your job isn't to forget or detach or let go of your desire. Your work is to get in alignment with your inner being, your source, and your desires. The confusion is when someone has been trying to manifest something in their life and they've been doing it wrong, even for years, nothing comes, so they finally give up and move on. Then it comes into their life. They falsely assume that it was the desire they had to let go of, but that's not what made it come. The awareness is the resistance that keeps it from coming. The root of desire to feel better is of course still there, but it has to tip the scale. You can desire more or resist less, just like the woman who lifted the car off her son. That's why all processes of getting in alignment are about releasing resistance and letting go off the brake. Conclusion of tips. Now you know the core foundations of harmonic theory. You know the application in depth, how to utilize tools, and you have a few tricks and tips. You have everything you need to create the life you want, in theory. Application is all on you. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need coaching. This industry is overflowing with scammers promising the world how to attract a specific person, make someone text you. Ignore all of them. You have all you need now. Next, we're going to do a deep dive into the advanced postgraduate level philosophical topics. Welcome to the most advanced harmonic lessons there are. Some people change when they see the light. Others change when they feel the heat. Carolyn Schroeder. You needed to ask in a bigger way. The first postgraduate advanced level is understanding why you experience big contrasts that didn't seem to serve a purpose, and you can't figure out how or why you rendezvoused with it. The whole purpose of this life is joy. And life has contrasting experiences, which are good because only in that contrasting experience do you have the clarity needed to ask. And then harmonizing and receiving more. It's a literal required step in the process. Now, some people really want to receive something really, really big. It is their heart of heart desires. They just don't want a good relationship. They want an amazing, outrageous, mind-blowing, jaw-dropping relationship. Or they don't want just a comfortable life. They want multiple mansions, the jets, the vacations. And some people just don't want a body free from pain. They want a fantastic-looking body and performing body that can do amazing things that everyone is in awe of the beauty and the health and the vitality they have. And you sort of see where this is going. In order to receive in those big ways, they need to ask in similar big ways. In order to inspire big asking, they are going to need some big contrast. And contrast isn't a very fun thing to go through. However, when you understand harmonic laws, you give meaning and purpose to the contrast. Without asking in a big way, you could never receive in a big way. When you give meaning, you can endure anything. Viktor Frankl. So if you are in the middle of big contrast, give it meaning. That one shift alone can help change how you feel about your current contrasting situation. And in that moment, now the contrasting situation is on its way out. It served its purpose, and now you can put all your focus on what you do want and relish in the joy that how bitter was the contrast is equivalent to how sweet will be the rendezvous. Why bad things happen to good people. Certainly, when people learn harmony, they start to think, wait, what about little babies? How would they harmonically align with unwanted things? Or why do bad things happen to good people? First of all, is there any philosophy on earth that has satisfying answers to those questions? Let's review. If you believe in a benevolent God, why would God do that? Right? That's not satisfying. If you believe in a malevolent God, what a jerk, right? That's also not satisfying. If you believe in no God and it's all just random, well, that's not satisfying either. If you believe in only science and everything has an action and equal reaction, but what action was taken to permit that action, that doesn't make any sense and it's not satisfying. Many take the science route and put a willful ignorance blind eye to bad things and just call it random. Yes, they experience cognitive dissonance knowing that everything happens logically for a reason, but bad things are somehow outside the scope of science and it's the one exception in all the universe. It's the only random thing. Well, that's not satisfying either. I wholeheartedly agree that no philosophy has truly universal satisfying answers to these questions, including this one. Maybe there are pre-birth intentions. Maybe there are pre-life planning sessions where they wanted to hit the ground running with early contrasting experiences, thus helping them ask sooner and in a stronger way so they could get an answer sooner than others. Maybe before we came, we didn't have the value judgments humans have on this earth about badness of contrasting experiences. Maybe they intended to be a great teacher on the subject, and in order to have credibility, they had to go through some of these experiences first, which they viewed as a small price to pay. I personally find some of those theories satisfying, but there's a whole lot of evidence of things like that. But who really knows, right? I don't argue about unprovable things. But regardless of where you stand, do you know what harmonic theory gives you? The feeling of control. Next, I'm going to talk about how unbelievably important it is for the notion of being in control of your life. Science has discovered there is an interesting foundational factor that highly correlates with people's happiness, success, health, quality of relationships, and every aspect of people's lives. That one correlate is the feeling of control. That's right, the more control people feel like they have in their lives, the better every single aspect of their life goes. I bring this up because the law of harmony allows people to theoretically have complete control over their life. Any philosophy that gives control to outside forces isn't going to serve that person very well. People psychologically construct their lives in two philosophical groups. The first group may be estimated to be about 40 to 50% of the population. These people have what is classified as an internal locus of control, meaning they simply feel like they have control over their own outcomes. The ramifications of this mere belief leads them to take responsibility for their own health, engage in healthy behaviors, practice effective coping strategies, and have a positive outlook on life. The majority group, though, estimated to be 50 to 60%, has what's classified to be an external locus of control. They blame external factors on their problems. They have ineffective coping strategies. They aren't proactive about their life or health. And they have a more negative outlook on life. Both get to be correct in their own lives. Internals have an internal locus of control and feel they control their personal destiny. Externals place control external to themselves and look outside themselves for answers, support, and guidance. In general, then, internals acquire more information and are better at retaining and utilizing it to control their own world. Internals are less suggestible and more independent and more reliant on their own judgment. They, in contrast to externals, evaluate information based on its merit than responding on the basis of the prestige or experience of the source of information. Internals are more likely to be high achievers and more likely to delay gratification so as to obtain a larger rewards at a later date. Externals are far more suggestible, tend more often to be smokers, to take high risks at gamblings, and are lower in achievement, dominance, endurance, and higher in desiring succor from others and self-abasement. Individuals with external locus of control are more likely to have demonstrable psychopathology than individuals with internal locus of control. Individuals with high external locus of control are more likely to feel inadequate, more anxious, more hostile, fatigued, confused, depressed, have less vigor and resiliency. Severely impaired psychiatric patients are more likely to be externals. Schizophrenics are more likely to be externals. A great deal of research demonstrates a strong relationship between external locus of control, depression, death, and anxiety. Its very nature spawns additional pathology. The belief that one's life is controlled by external forces is associated with a sense of powerlessness, ineffectualness, and low self-regard. Externals will argue that it's not their philosophical viewpoint. They are literally being oppressed by outside forces. They will have hard, verified evidence to support their position that the law of harmony ensures. Just like you get to listen to whatever song your radio station is tuned to. But let's see how this plays out in real life. There was a huge long-term study performed on British civil servants. As you know, in the British Isles, they have free health care, so nobody's feeling anxious about health insurance like Americans. But they wanted to answer the question, how does your work affect your health? They interviewed 18,000 civil servants and did a one-on-one interview that would last an hour. You can see how long this project and interviews alone must have taken them. They studied who would be happier and healthier by looking at things like who is more likely to have a heart attack. Since they would have full access to their health records, it made for an excellent study. Initially, they postulated that some results would denote people at the top would have the most stress, or the most people at the bottom making the least would have the most stress. But the correlating factors shocked them. It wasn't correlated with income, education, job stability, job risk, or how important their position was. Their health was directly associated with how much control their job gave them in how to perform their work. People with no control were 400% more likely to have a heart attack, be depressed, commit suicide, or die. People doing the same job at the same pay, at the same status, in the same office, who were given a high degree of control would be significantly less likely to get sick, suffer depression, or any other kind of emotional distress. Workers higher up with more control had more friends and social activity after work. The ones with no control just wanted to go home, watch TV, because the lack of control has a psychological deadening effect on people. Do you remember the emotional scale from the Law of Harmony video? It makes perfect sense that science confirms it is at the very bottom, disempowerment. It is deadly in every sense of the word. The concept of stressful work needs to go through a revolution. It's not about the quality or quantity of responsibility. It's all about a feeling of being empowered in your life.
Quote, control alters not only our physiological response to stress, but also our ability to persist. When we believe we have an influence over an outcome, we're more likely to persevere even if we face a setback.
In the 1960s, Martin Seligman and Stephen Mayer performed experiments seeing the effect on shocking dogs. One experiment giving them control, the dogs could press a lever or jump over a barrier to avoid the shocks, and one where they couldn't. After a few uncomfortable shocks, the dogs developed what they called learned helplessness, meaning that even when they were given the ability to jump out or press a lever, they didn't. They all resigned to their fate. This stress response has terrifying consequences for the health of animals and us as well. All diseases flourish with a never-before-seen speed and aggression until death. Sadly, the CIA took note on what these controlling, micromanaging bosses, military leaders, spouses, or teachers do and incorporated this into torture techniques, as they hope to eliminate any, quote, sense of control and predictability. It's sad that so many people's lives can be literally compared to CIA-level torture. Quote, lack of control extinguishes the flame of even the most motivated. Who knew the feeling of control was such a high correlate to your mental, physical, and success in life? It's pivotal. Whatever philosophy you have in life, make sure it gives you the most control possible. The feeling of control and empowerment are absolutely essential for a happy life. Remember this foundational fact going forward. If you don't feel like you have control, it will literally kill you decades sooner. It'll allow atypical diseases to ravish your body and destroy your mental health. It'll hinder all of your relationships. But if you take the highest and most noble stance of empowerment, saying, I did that, you win. You win every single time. Something seemingly unwanted happens to you. You have control over your options. You can say, 1, I'm sure appreciative my guidance is working. Or 2, this manifestation gives me a clear indicator of where I am. Or 3, I am thankful for this indicator so I can adjust my harmony before something really bad happens. That's a lot of control and empowerment, which is what this is all about. Many people get upset because harmonic theory isn't satisfying to outlier conditions. Blame feels better than guilt. The most irresistible siren song of the entire human experience is this: it's not your fault. And the press is capitalizing on this and seducing people to take the instantly addictive drug of victimhood and victimize themselves. But when you take this drug, there is immediate and instantaneous pleasure that washes over the addict. And they come back for more and more, because like all addictive substances, you can never get enough. And anyone who threatens to take away your drug of choice will be met with insane and vicious backlash. The pattern is literally identical to cocaine, meth, and heroin. Don't take the irresistible victim mentality drug. The high is pleasurable but will wreck your life in the end. Take their harmonic control medicine instead. It's a bitter pill to swallow at first, but will enable you to have the life you've always wanted in the end.
Well, this has been quite the journey.
I find it interesting that classical physics works right up until you get to subatomic particles. Then they switch to a new model called quantum physics. And I find it identically interesting that reductionist medicine works right up until you get to non-traumatic problems. Then you need a new model. That's why I named this quantum medical model. At the beginning, we said the basis of this model is truth. And honestly, we fully admit we don't have all the puzzle pieces. The question I asked you at the very start was, regardless of the missing pieces, can you see the image? Can you see that we live in a harmonic-based universe, not mechanistic or reductionistic one? The fruits of using a falsified model are bitter, dangerous, and deadly. Personally, I'd rather use a model that works based on truth and science, even if we don't know exactly how or why it works, than one that doesn't work and science has clearly proven to be false, even if it makes a lot of money for a lot of people. The puzzle piece that is missing is this. Science can't numerically tell us what level our harmony is with anything. We have not only presented mountains of irrefutable evidence that there are intangible factors beyond materialism at play in the human condition, we have also satisfied the cynic's willful, ignorant, flippant demand for extraordinary evidence. And yet, when we ask the same confident cynics to give any normal evidence that their medical model reliably works for non-traumatic maladies, or explain away all the mountains of bitter fruit evidence against it, they get offended. I have had scientists literally tell me I am anti-science. They tell me not to question the narrative, or refuse to discuss it and never talk to me again. You can decide for yourself if I am anti-science or nothing could be further from the truth. In talking with a source at the CDC who wants to remain confidential, they said 3 words that have haunted me to this day. It's the reason why the CDC actively hides iatrogenic illnesses and deaths, medical mistakes. It's the same reason why they propagated all of the COVID-19 misinformation, and they lie about vaccines. They said it's because if that information got out, it would undermine public trust, thus destroying any remaining credibility of the entire medical system and shake the very foundations of trust in the federal government. I personally don't think there's much left trust in either institution, but shouldn't we disrupt a system that's foundation is rotten? That's the first step in making it better. Why turn a blind eye if it hurts people, just so you never have to confront the fact that you were complicit or were duped? We've all been duped. The sting of embarrassment is temporary versus a lifetime of fraud. It's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. Upton Sinclair. Sometimes I think I'm too hopeful because all the science in the first segment on the preamble of truth proved again and again that there is no actual quality or quantity of evidence enough to convince them. They are unconvincible. But they don't matter for you in your life. The good thing is we don't need the approval of cynics or to convince the unconvincible, or even technology to catch up to us to move forward, because there are already 2 ways in which we can tell what we are in harmony with. 1, how we feel when we think about a subject. And 2, what comes into our lives. We live in a harmonic-based universe. Let me try and synthesize all the puzzle pieces as I see this coming together. We are an eternal one, part of all that is, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. I use the word source because it's less triggering. We have projected a portion of ourselves into this body and time-space reality for the purpose of joy. We are always connected to this larger part of us 24/7, 365. Our emotions are a what source thinks about what I am thinking about -meter. When we think thoughts like unconditional love, we feel great, because in that thought we are in perfect harmony with our source energy, and that energy is flowing to us 100%. We are like that from which we come, and we come from love. At that stage of pure connection, some sort of pure life force energy is flowing to us. In this state, Disease can't abide that vibrational harmony. We are like a dimmer switch. When we think thoughts of frustration and worry, we are restricting the flow somewhat. How we increase the strength of our connection is an art of reaching for better harmonic thoughts like hope, love, and optimism. We can know they are better because they feel better. Habitually staying in those harmonic areas, things will happen to us that yield more manifestations that we will respond with similar emotions. When we are in fear, hate, and disempowerment, we are severely restricting the flow of source energy, and we will get things that match it as well. The restriction of the flow of energy from our source is the true cause of all sickness, illness, and disease. Contrast, while uncomfortable and not pleasant, is good as it serves as the catalyst for you receiving everything you want. We only know most clearly what we do want when we experience something we don't want. You have the absolute freedom to think anything and therefore, in essence, harmonize and therefore rendezvous with anything that you want in life. When a seemingly unwanted contrast event happens in your life, at that very point, two seeds are planted, one with a bitter fruit and the other with a sweet fruit. Which one you harvest depends on which one you pay attention to, as your thoughts are like constant running water from a hose, fertilizer, and sunshine to the seeds planted. As soon as you can, look at every contrasting event with appreciation that your guidance is working, and second, that you now know most clearly what you do want. You couldn't have ever received the sweet fruit without the seed that the contrast helped plant. Trying to attack the root of the problem is useless, as the root comes from a seed. Your thoughts are your seeds. Taking action from a place of lack does nothing at best and backfires at worst. Therefore, going to any kind of practitioner for any kind of non-traumatic ailment before you get in harmony with your good-feeling body first is a mistake that will backfire on you. We must take the time to direct our alignment first on what we do want. It costs us nothing but focus and time. There is no excuse. Practitioners may indeed be able to help alleviate your ailment, but unless you change what your radio station is tuned to, something that will make you feel similarly bad is sure to come, just like a different song on the same radio station. I've seen this every day for years. Nobody can force you to habitually think any thoughts against your will, and therefore no practitioner, energy worker, therapist, doctor, or healer can permanently heal you of all of your life's pains, unless you change from being in harmony with painful things to being in harmony with an amazing feeling body. Enlightened practitioners, energy workers, therapists, doctors, and healers who know how the universe works will not even try and treat your condition without helping you get into harmony first. Then, once you are in tune, the whole universe will conspire to help you solve your problem in the shortest, fastest, cheapest, best custom way for you possible. If you have any kind of illness, pain, or disease, and you go to a Western medical doctor, they are required by law to do the standard of care of drugs or surgery. Go to a functional, alternative, or Eastern practitioner, they will bring out their lifestyle parrot and load you up with expensive supplements. If you go to the internet, which is full of flashy biohackers, who I admit have really done their homework, will load you up with extremely expensive high-tech supplements like peptides, gene tests, and tell you to go buy some other high-tech equipment, as they similarly claim the root of your problem is a nutritional imbalance, toxins, or lack of something they happen to sell. They may have a test result that confirms that you do have a problem, but without exception, they are all wrong. The true cause of the problem was the restriction of source energy. They confidently do their craft, yet all have no idea why their solutions didn't work or why the problem just transmuted into something else. And yes, it's certainly possible for the practitioner to help the client get into harmony with a good-feeling body by their confidence. But it's more reliable long-term for you to do it yourself. Then work on clearing the 3.5 hurdles. Get your relationships in tip-top order. Have more purpose in your life by volunteering. And let go of any aspects of your philosophy that isn't serving your best interest. That will all help any and all potential traumas that your body is holding on to. With the 3.5 hurdles cleared, you are now in the best position possible to restore your wholeness. No analogy is perfect, including this one, but let's say your body's like a car, and this car needs wheels, an engine, and fuel to run. If you lack any one of these, any other work on your car is futile. Science confirms again and again that to really deliciously thrive in your life and in your physical body, you need a romantic relationship and a small network of friends, a feeling of purpose in your life, a soul-supportive philosophy that gives you the feeling of control, and if needed, to have dealt with any past traumas. Trying to heal without dealing with each of these is a fool's errand. Imagine a lady has her car towed to a full-service auto center, and she is complaining that her car isn't going like it used to. There's no fuel in the car, but in talking to a mechanic, she insists she needs a new engine. He readily agrees and charges her and rebuilds the whole engine. After it's done, she's frustrated that it still doesn't work. She's upset and takes it to another automotive practitioner. She now thinks she should get it fully detailed and undercoating. And it still doesn't work right. She endlessly has this car being towed all around the world to different auto practitioners. And they feel bad too. Nothing seems to be working. And it's obvious where I'm going with this. She needs fuel. I see countless people who need to deal with their past trauma. Or they need to harmonize with a healthy romantic relationship and invest in and develop their friendships. Or they need to drop their victim mentalities and external locus of control and adopt a better philosophy that honors and works with the laws of the universe instead of against it. There is no most important one. You need them all to drive. These are very real hurdles, and ignoring them is ludicrous. When people take the time to clear the hurdles and fix each of these aspects of their lives, all their other problems fade away, with no direct efforts to fix those problems. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So many people's lives aren't going well, and they say, I can't work on the 3.5 hurdles because they are confident there is no solution, because they feel stuck with their current relationship, job, whatever, because of kids, finances, geography, whatever. This shows a complete lack of trust and misunderstanding in the universe. The universe knows all of those things and can still find the best solution ever. Your work is not to jump up and take action like fighting against unwanted spouses, employers, or illnesses. That'll just backfire on you. It's not your job to tell the water which path to go downhill. That's the universe's job, to surprise and delight you with solutions better than you could have ever imagined. Your work is done quietly, silently, as you work on moving up the emotional scale on all topics, changing your philosophy, sitting down each day with your notebook, writing about things you love about relationships, your body, things you love about life on this planet. That's the work. That's your work. Now, I'll tell you the truth, there is a problem with this approach. While doing the work is arguably easy, it's certainly doable, and while it's easy to do, the problem is it's even easier not to do. Now, it's also true that you can live a long time with a poor philosophy and victim mentality without dealing with past traumas, or a life alone, or a life without purpose, but you will never thrive. And you'll be sick all the time, and you're going to have a lot of opposition, and a lot of pain and suffering, a harder life, a sadder life, and a much poorer life because it's going to be a much more expensive life. You will waste hundreds of thousands of dollars in searching for medical relief that you will never find. Your houses, cars, and body are going to break down a lot more at the worst possible times. It's going to be one thing after another until the day you die, which is going to be a long, painful, and expensive decline. I made this video series exclusively for those that want a bigger and better life than by default. you still have the freedom to change at any age. In this life, you get to do one thing. Pick your hard. It's hard to be alone. It's hard to be in harmony with a relationship. Pick your hard. Marriage can be hard. Divorce is hard. Pick your hard. It's hard to be a victim. It's hard to take responsibility and change your habituated thoughts on a subject by reading and writing every day. Pick your hard. It's hard to be in debt. It's hard to manage tons and tons of money. Pick your hard. It's hard to be in a painful body. It's hard to pour time and money in to take care of yourself. You have the absolute freedom to pick your hard. When you came into this time-space reality, you had 100% connection from your source energy. No little kids are hateful, racist, prejudiced, or spend time wringing their hands worrying about retirement or the mortgage payment. They followed their guidance and just wanted to do more fun things and had infinite curiosity. We were all like that by default. Then adults trained us out of our guidance system and the connection started to slow and our resistance increased. Have you ever noticed the longer people live, the more resistant they become and the sicker they are because they find more to worry about? I often ask the question, what would you worry about if TV didn't tell you what to worry about? So we don't need to learn about how to do anything new. Just stop doing the things that are keeping us from our natural, fully connected state, like letting go of a cork under the water. The first step in all change must be to increase the flow rate from our source energy. Then clear the hurdles, and the side effect of connecting up to source energy stronger is inspiration will abound in your life, guiding you to the best people, practitioners, jobs, traffic, restaurants, conversations, everything. FAQ. What do I think about blank? Whenever anyone asks me, what do you think about blank? They pretty much universally don't like my answer, even though it's the correct one. You can tell by now that 1, I don't believe in reductionist medicine. But what I think is if you have done the work, and if you have gotten into harmony with a good feeling body, the universe will give you the shortest, fastest, quickest path for you to achieve the body you've gotten in harmony with. The answer will be so clear that you will never even think of asking third party because you have received an answer that has resonated with your soul on a level that is so clear nobody could convince you otherwise. Even asking a third party means you either haven't gotten in harmony or that's not the universe-inspired path. What do I think about other doctors, nurses, practitioners, and biohackers? This is all about Hippocrates' admonition. If you are not your own doctor, you are a fool. In general, nothing annoys practitioners more than when clients ask them about a supplement or protocol they saw on social media. If your practitioner is in harmony with this knowledge, let the universe unveil it to them. Remember, the universe doesn't need your help to know which is the fastest way the water flows down the mountain. As the video about truth pointed out, medical practitioners are atypically susceptible to a high number of cognitive biases, which there are many reasons we won't go over again here. So just let the universe do the work. Do I want them to adopt the quantum medical modality? Do I want to call them out using bad science? No. I want them to just be themselves exactly as they are. I want them promoting the cures they believe in and mastering their craft and fine-tuning their protocols. Because countless numbers of them are indeed exactly what people need to cure them. It's all about order of operations. If you are suffering and take action from the place of lack and go to one of these practitioners and let them do their protocol on you, it will do nothing at best and backfire at worst. But if you set your intention for a great feeling body, get in harmony with that desire, and the universe delivers to you in a synchronistic manner a specific practitioner and their protocols, and your soul leaps with joy when you learn about them, and your inner being is so clearly guiding you that wild horses couldn't keep you from that, that's where they fit in. And that's where they want to fit in as well. They want clients who are prepared to heal and have done all the work before they get to them. They want easy clients who are 99% of the way there so they can just help them the rest of the way. In that scenario, everyone is satisfied, fulfilled, and happy. So no, don't send this video to your practitioner. If they are in harmony with it, let the universe help them rendezvous with whatever information they are in harmony with on their own timetable. Leave them be. The great news is, because it's a harmonic universe, and since you are watching this video right now, that means you are in harmony with being on the leading edge. You are in harmony with improving your life in the fastest, shortest, most fun way possible. That's very good news. The truth is, most people live average lives with average harmony on an average amount of subjects. There is little to no direction in their life. They just observe and knee-jerk react. And for them, average medical studies showing the average person takes a drug or supplement are on average true. But as I said in the very beginning, this video series isn't for average people wanting average lives. While science generally cuts off outliers, I've made that the cornerstone of my studies. Outliers are the exceptions to the averages, and this is about the path of people who want exceptional lives. Vibrant bodies until death, out-of-this-world delicious relationships, waking up each day with excitement in your heart, ready to live life to the fullest. I'm not a doctor, but I know harmony back and forth. When I started the nonprofit Quantum Medical Research, my whole mission was to help people heal cheaper, better, and faster than anything else out there. Because it doesn't matter how polite, caring, or sincere your practitioner is, if they don't have the right formula, you will never get the right answer. I believe this is the most accurate formula to date, and I am open to being wrong. I plan on refining this endlessly. But all the data people send to me, all the studies just confirm the quantum medical model, even with all the missing pieces, is the best approach out there. Focus on the 3.5 hurdles. You need to support a philosophy that honors the laws of the universe. But the good news is, this whole video series was all about that. There are standalone videos to help you step-by-step harmonize with a satisfying romantic relationship, a good-feeling body, and a life full of purpose and connection. Those will not only give you a step-by-step guide, but watching them will show you the pattern of how to harmonize with anything else you want in your life, like financial abundance, or working in a specific industry, or. If you take away one thing, let it be this. Don't try and be like anyone else. That would defeat the purpose of why you specifically came here. We already have a them. We needed a you. Exactly you. To be who you are, unabashedly, unapologetically you. Your authentic expression contributes to all that is. Don't stifle any of your heart's desires. Since you are fundamentally, unchangeably free, you are free to choose your thoughts and therefore free to harmonize with things that help you express your authentic self. In essence, you are free to have, become, and experience anything your heart desires. Step fully into your power. Being authentically and joyfully you is the purpose of all life. Awake and arise to your infinite nature. You are not your temporary relationship status, job, housing status, bank account, or illness. You being you is your purpose. And when you honor that, everything spirals upward. Your delicious life awaits.